We're starting this morning, though. You've seen this across a lot of the papers, the news reports today. Singer Rita Ora says that she is deeply sorry and that her actions were irresponsible. This is after she broke the lockdown rules to celebrate her 30th birthday at the weekend. Now, she's now volunteered to pay the £10,000 fine for breaking COVID restrictions. But is that enough? And actually, should rich rule breakers maybe face tougher fines? What did you make of this one, Gloria? I mean, she has, you know, said she's very, very sorry and she's offered to pay the money. But what did you think when you first heard about this birthday party?
Well, for me, this is an apology too late, because I have to preface it by saying I don't like the lockdown like a lot of other people, but I am determined to try and do it to the best of my ability in order to stay safe and my family safe. And of course, as we all know about the NHS and the marvellous job they do. Personally, I thought this was disgusting behaviour from Rita Ora. I love her as a performer, but this was a bad decision, because when I saw the backlash that she's had, people saying, I haven't been able to see my dad in a care home for so long, I can't even go in, and yet you're having 30 or whatever the number of people in for a party. Or people saying, I wasn't able to get married and I so wanted to get married, but I wasn't able to have, you know, the right number of people. Or a friend of mine lost his mum recently. He couldn't have all the people he wanted to be at her funeral. And yet Rita Ora can just, on a whim, dress up very glam and have 30 guests or whatever number she finally had. I think it's disgusting. I think it's not about the money. I couldn't care less if Rita Ora said, I'll give them £1 million. It's not about that. It's about the moral behaviour and what's inside you about all the things that we're hearing about this hideous, hideous virus. And nobody in this world has got the definitive answer yet. So we all have to be nervous of it. And I personally, I'm not a goody two-shoe, but I just think that we all have to do our very best. I mean, look at Liverpool's results in a relatively short time. They have reduced it by good behaviour. Look at China. When they say in China, you stay indoors and you don't come out, they listen to that and they stay indoors, and they had very few cases compared to the enormous population they have.
Yeah, I mean,
so for me, it's not about the money, honey.
Yeah, I mean, when you say that, Gloria, so many people, Judi, had to give up events, whether it's birthdays, weddings, christenings, and so many people who can't see their loved ones in care homes. And I think you as well for your birthday.
I had a big birthday, big 40, but I'm telling everyone I'm still 39. And you know, yeah, definitely you planned from the year before, and I had all these big plans. They had to be changed, and at that time you was allowed, you know, 6 people in your garden and so on, and I had to filter it through 3 days and had 3 people at a time, and you know, that last 5 adding myself, and no one allowed in my home and so on. So I think, you know, for Rita Ora now, with all the backlash, I hope and I think that she's probably learnt from it, and seeing that many see it as quite insensitive, especially when, you know, you're dealing with people that can't get care for their cancer treatment, you can't see your parents in residential homes. And I think it's about making those conscious decisions for others. Sometimes we have to take ourselves out of the situation and think, well, how will that affect our neighbours? How will that affect the NHS? How will that affect our friends? And once you come out of that situation, you'll be able to make the right choice, which is about thinking about everybody more than just.
I mean, we have to say,
ourselves.
Janet, it was Rita's obviously getting all the flack because she's very, very well known. There were other people. I mean, you know, it's reported 15 people. Some say it's 7. Nobody really knows.
There's been lots of parties going on
imagine.
since this lockdown. Lots of parties that just haven't been found out about, and there've been lots of events where people have gone in to warehouses or places you can't see from the street, and they either have a test if they're wealthy and wait 20 minutes and then go in. I disagree with the whole system of fines, because for someone like Rita Ora, £10,000 represents not a lot of money, because she can earn more than that just doing a live, performing at another rich person's party. What I'd rather see is the system that they have in countries like Argentina and Finland, where you're fined a proportion of your salary. So they estimate what you earn every day, and your fine is a day's salary. And that's been really, really successful. And in Germany, they switched to this kind of fines, and they have seen prison sentences go right down and the number of people offending has gone right down. So they call it income-based fines.
Right.
I think it's just a much simpler way to go about fining people. I mean, I do worry that Rita Ora has a huge number of fans, and she influences, if you want to use that ghastly word, a lot of young people. And we've already got a big problem where people of a certain age think they're not going to get ill, or they're not going to, you know, they don't care. So she should set a terrible
I mean,
example.
she has, I said, she has issued quite a lengthy apology, actually. And also, you know, her mum works as a nurse, so she's saying she should have known better. So that's that. But that leads us on, actually, I wanted to talk about vaccine passports. So the vaccines could be rolled out before Christmas, they're hoping. And they could end up being used like a vaccine passport. So when you go out to bars or cinemas or any kind of public event, that you would be let in, or more importantly, not let in, you know, if you didn't have one. And I'm kind of mixed feelings about the vaccine, because I definitely don't agree with mandatory vaccination. I think that's a huge breach of your civil liberties. But I do understand that the more people have it, the more, you know, the more likely it is we will build up herd immunity. Gloria, what do you think? Do you think... Because I think I can understand if you are an event, particularly hospitality, where they've been closed for so long now, so many businesses going under, that if you knew, well, when we open again, if people can prove to us that they're COVID-free and show us that they've had the vaccine, that's good for us, because we can let people in and know that this virus isn't spreading. But do you think the idea of a vaccine passport, does that sit well with you?
Well, I feel truly sorry for businesses. I really do. My heart goes out to them. But I agree with you, Ruth. You can't make it mandatory to have it. But on the other hand, if a company makes a decision to say, right, we are going to be super careful until this thing hopefully finishes, and if they want to sort of use that passport with the vaccine, then I think that's their prerogative. And it may at certain times really sort of help you. Now, Judi was talking about a big birthday. I had one heck of a big birthday this year, but we weren't able to celebrate that, but that's fine. I'll do it next year again. But the only advantage I can see so far being in this age group is that I might just get the vaccine fairly soon. And I'm happy to have it on the programme, actually, if you can get me one.
You'd have it done here, live on the show?
Really?
I would have it done anytime on the show. I really want to have it.
Yeah, Janet, the government had talked about getting high-profile kind of celebrities to say, would you promote the vaccine?
I've already said I would have it on social media, and it attracted a huge amount of abuse from these anti-vaxxers. And they are really persuading a lot of people of the downside of having the vaccine, when people should be more receptive. I think the government has got to use whatever means they can to spell out why it's so important to help people by, you know, vulnerable people by having this vaccine. I mean, talking of vaccine passports, I don't see them as an infringement on human liberty, you know, our civil liberties, because if I want to travel to a whole host of African countries, for example, at the moment, I already have to have a vaccine passport for yellow fever, for example. And not so long ago, when I went to Tanzania and Kenya, there are all different vaccines that you have to enter those countries already.
What about you, Judi?
So what's the difference?
Yeah, would you be nervous of the vaccine, or how are you feeling about it?
Why people are probably nervous is that it's just come up so quickly. You know, like you're saying, you have to travel to certain countries and have those vaccines. They've been there for quite a long while. So I think that's what makes you nervous. I think the government has to communicate properly. Throughout these last 6, 7, 8, 9 months, there's been a lack of communication where you feel like you completely understand what the government is doing. And then they now want us to trust them with something that we're going to put into our body. This is where the breakdown within the relationship has come from the people and the government.
Yeah, I think, like Janet said, it's about educating and informing, isn't
exactly.
it? So for me, it's not about mandatory, like, you will have this vaccine whether you like it or not. It's for government and the scientific advisors to persuade us all that it is safe, to convince us that it's safe, to give us the information to make that choice. Yeah, it's a big subject, and I'm sure it's something that we'll talk about a lot more, but we do have to move on.